Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to stick to Sweden, but we're going to head a little bit north once again to Gothenburg, Göteborg as you would say in Swedish, the Swedish craft beer capital up on the west coast. Still losing track of how many times I say that, but the only reason is because the beer scene in Gothenburg is thriving so much. There's a ridiculous number of breweries there, but we're going to go back to a brewery who I was very impressed with last month, I have to say, and this is going to be beer number 3 from them under this name. And I did review a couple of beers from them under their old name, Brewery. So you've probably guessed by now that we are going to have a look at another beer from DuckPond Brewing, and this one is called the True Love. So this is another fruited Gose. It comes in at 6% ABV, and this one is done with raspberry and vanilla. Last month, of course, I had the Dark Wing, which was blackcurrants and vanilla, and I was really impressed with that one actually. I thought that was a very nice beer. But the fruited Goses, that's a style of beer that I haven't really touched on too much on the channel. I think the traditional, even the more kind of traditional German Goses, I need to try those a little bit more for you on the channel as well, because there's only been 2 or 3 videos of the traditional ones actually, and even less of the kind of more modern fruity Goses, if you like. So yeah, definitely a style that I need to explore a little bit more, but I have been impressed with the ones that DuckPond have been putting out there. And I know there's a good number of sour beer breweries these days. I mean, we've got Brewery, of course, the OG one here in Sweden. You've got Tempo, you've got DuckPond, Morgendagens, Wizard, Dugges of course are doing their thing now, Jämerdalen away up north. You know, there's some very good sour beer breweries here in Sweden, and DuckPond seem to be joining in on that as well. But these guys are becoming well known for the Berliner Weisses, the Goses, and also their hazy IPAs and things like that too. I believe the first beer that I had from DuckPond Brewing was called Lead Singer Syndrome, and that was a New England IPA if I remember rightly. So yeah, if you like your fruited sours and you like New England's, then DuckPond Brewing is one that you definitely want to check out. But yeah, curious to see how this one turns out. I love raspberry beers, so hopefully this is another good one, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this as well. But let's see how we get on then. As always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I've done from DuckPond Brewing before. No doubt you will see some more from these guys in the fairly near future. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about DuckPond Brewing then, on to my brewery notes. So as I mentioned to you earlier, DuckPond Brewing were previously known as Brewery, and this is the brainchild of Niklas Sarsevitz, who is a singer and songwriter for the band Millencolin, and they've been making music since 1993. So the band was originally based in Örebro, out to the west of Stockholm, and then they took a break and Nikola moved down to Gothenburg. In 2013 he began home brewing with his friend Christian Silva while he was studying international marketing in Skövde, and the two were brewing very small kind of 20-litre batches together, and then Nikola went to Berlin for a 2-week brewing course. I don't know if it was VLB that he went to, but that's a very popular brewing school amongst Swedish brewers, of course. But the two of them then started the company together, and it was based for a while in Nikola's house and was brewing 200-litre batches. They changed their name. They continued to grow over the next little while, but then they changed their name in the summer of 2019, and they've been working to increase their output and international sales over the last couple of years, and they have made a very good name for themselves. The first beers that were released under the Brewery brand did very well, and that really helped build the company's reputation. But then, as I say, in August of 2019 they changed their name to DuckPond Brewing, and a lot of the reason for that was apparently like people abroad found it very difficult to get the spelling of the brewery right and things like that, so they went for something that was a bit more kind of English friendly almost. But as of July 2020, when I'm filming this review for you, these guys have produced 20 different beers under the DuckPond name, and as I was kind of mentioning earlier, it seems to be like hazy New England IPAs, Berliner Weisses and Goses and things like that these guys are sticking to, but they do it very well, so you can't fault them for that. But yeah, that's all I can really tell you about DuckPond Brewing for the moment. A really nice little brewery, this one. They brew their beers in different places around Gothenburg from what I understand. I think I said in the last video that I thought these guys were brewing their beers at Morgendagens, and I'm sure that Nicola commented on the thing and said that that actually wasn't the case. But I do remember when I was visiting Spike Brewing, I'm pretty sure they told me that some of the DuckPond beers were being brewed at Spike actually, so I'm not sure if that is still the case, but I know that when I was in Gothenburg, was that last October or so, October 2019, or September 2019, I'm sure there were a couple of the DuckPond Brewing beers being brewed at Spike Brewing. But yeah, that's kind of interesting that. But yeah, these guys brew somewhere in Gothenburg. I don't want to say the wrong brewery, but I had heard as well that it was Spike. But yeah, correct me in the comment section and things below if I am wrong on that, if you guys know better. But yeah, that's all I can really tell you about DuckPond Brewing for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and of course you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all the different beers that they've done. So yeah, let's get on and actually have a taste of this beer then. I'll just have a little quick look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. You go, just clear the sweat off the can. But yeah, pretty simple artwork this one. Looks a little bit 1970s almost, the kind of style of artwork on here, but yeah, nice and plain I have to say, nicely done. And there you can see there is the DuckPond brewing symbol there. So yeah, pretty cool. As I said to you at the start of the video, this one is a Gose coming in at 6% ABV with raspberries and vanilla added to it. So yeah, should be pretty awesome. But the artwork on this one is by Jonas Linden. So yeah, okay, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting then. 330 milliliter can, this one. I actually can't remember how much I paid for this, maybe 35, 40 Swedish kroners. Of course it came in that big order that I always do at the start of every month. But yes, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. And this looks very, very nice. A Gose with vanilla and raspberries. There we go. That's going to be nice. You can smell those lovely raspberry notes coming out of it right away. It's got a lovely smell, a lovely juiciness to it, this one. You can see the head is fading away very, very quickly. So yeah, about a third of a finger of a frothy kind of pink coloured head on this, but yeah, fading away very, very quickly. I'm just going to leave a little foamy ring around the edge of the palate there. So yeah, that's nice. I have to say that is pretty damn nice looking. You can see with this one it's poured a lovely, it's not too far away from the colour of the letters, or a little bit of that kind of almost sunsetty kind of thing. It's actually not too far away from the colour on the can at the bottom of the can there. So yeah, a lovely kind of purpley pinkish colour. It's just, you know, the same colour as raspberries pretty much. I don't know how else you can really describe that. A lovely kind of raspberry berryish, pinkish type colour, this one. That's one of the great things I love about these Goses and the Berliner Weisses and stuff like that, the ones that people love to add fruit to. You get some awesome colours out of these. I mean, the dark wing last month, that was the black currants, was just really, colour of that beer was very, very impressive. And it was, of course, one of the Omnipollo Goses that got me into trying these a little bit more. So do give me your fruited Gose recommendations in the comment section below. I'd really need a few recommendations to explore this style a bit more. But I have to say, appearance of this one is lovely. If you shine the light through this, you'll see it is very, very hazy. It's got a lot of oats and wheat in it, this one though, so that absolutely makes sense. I think I said in the last one that I did from these guys, it tasted like it had lactose in it. I mean, I often find that with some of these beers is that they don't have lactose in them, but they almost taste as if they do a little bit. But yeah, one or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, a few little ones heading towards the bottom of the head there. But you know, overall, it does smell, or it does look, you know, pretty much as you would expect from one of these from one of these, you know, fruited Gose type beers. Nothing particularly surprising about the appearance of this one. You get them in all sorts of different colours. It really just depends on what fruit it is that you've used. But you can see the head has faded away just to be a very, very kind of thin foamy ring around the side. But yeah, it looks great, this one. So yeah, let's have a little look at the aroma then and just see how we get on with this one. Very curious about it. Ooh, yeah, this smells very nice. Straight away with this one, you do get a little bit of the tartness from the raspberries, but it's a very, very juicy aroma that you get out of this one. The raspberries in this come across as being very, very juicy. I mean, Scottish raspberries, of course, raspberries are quite famous at home. But the Scottish raspberries are really, really ridiculously tart. I've always found that the ones that I've had over here in Sweden and the Danish ones that I've had as well, they are definitely distinctively more juicy and less tart, and you can definitely pick that up in this beer. I'm guessing that with the you know, with the oats and the wheat and stuff in this one, that will also aid in making these berries seem a little bit more juicy, if you like. And it does almost give you the impression of a little bit of a kind of raspberry yogurty, like a petit filou type thing. So yeah, this beer to me does come across as almost, pardon me, a little bit sort of petit filou yogurty, like a raspberry petit filou kind of thing. It's got a lovely juiciness to it. I mean, it is straight up raspberry, but you will get the impression of a few other things in there, maybe like a juicy fig, you know, just a little bit of a figgy, maybe like a red curranty cranberry type aroma coming out of this one as well. So yeah, as I say, it is straight up raspberries, but you could be forgiven for thinking there are a couple of other little fruity notes in there, and of course the fruity side of things is what dominates the aroma of this beer. Yeah, lovely as I say, lovely juicy raspberries, and then your nose is going to pick up a few complexities, like a little touch of a figgy note, a little bit of a kind of red curranty, cranberry-ish type quality in there, a little bit of a candied sort of strawberry, red fruity type thing as well. So yeah, it is, as I say, straight up raspberries, but a few other little kind of fruity hints coming out of this one. Underneath that, of course, you do get a little bit of that almost yogurty type quality out of it. Like I said though, this beer doesn't have lactose. It will just be the way the wheat and the oats and a bit of the yeast are kind of interacting in there as well. But yeah, you can smell a little bit of the kind of wheaty breadiness out of it, but the oaty creaminess I think really kind of shines on this one. But yeah, it's the way that those interact and give you that almost yogurty petit filou thing that's quite interesting. It smells pretty much the same as the dark wine from last month, except it's a brighter fruit almost. The fruits that come out of this one, the raspberries are just a bit brighter and I think even more juicy than the black currants that were in that beer last month. This one of course doesn't have hops in it. I'm pretty sure I said last month the dark wine, I thought it had a little bit of hops in it, but I'm sure Nicola commented on the video and said, oh yeah, it's no hops that's in this. Sometimes what breweries will do with these beers, with Berliner Weisses or Goses, some breweries will put in very, very old, well not very old, but they will put in old noble hops, so you will get a little bit of grassiness and earthiness and things out of them, but quite a few breweries just don't bother putting the hops in these days, which is kind of interesting. But I would say with this beer you do get a little impression of a bit of grassiness coming out of this one. To me there is just a little bit of grassiness mixing in with the fruity side of things there, and almost, can you get a wee bit of an almost, yeah, to me there is almost just a teeny little bit of earthiness coming out of this one, and that could be straight up from the raspberries that's in this. You can definitely smell with this beer, you can almost smell the sort of bramble type quality coming out of this one. So yeah, that's, you will get a little bit of that out of the beer as well. You definitely get a little bit of the kind of brambly smell. My grandpa always had he always had like black currant and raspberry brambles and stuff like that in his garden. And whenever it rains you used to get that kind of earthy, grassy type smell out of it, and you do get just a little touch of this out of this beer. You do get, as I say, you do get a little bit of an almost grassy and very slightly earthy note out of the beer, and I really like that about this one, I have to say. But yeah, it's a beautiful smelling beer, this one, definitely leaning towards the kind of sweet, juicy side of things, and it has everything that you kind of expect of the Gose. You do get a little bit of a salty kind of thing the more you smell of it as well, and you know the Gose, they did add A little bit of salt to them in Germany, of course. But yeah, beautiful smelling beer, this one. Take a little bit of time to enjoy that before you get stuck in, but I'm very, very curious to see how this one turns out, so let's have a go at it. This one is the True Love, a Gose with raspberries and vanilla from DuckPond Brewing, based in Gothenburg on the west coast of Sweden. Very curious about this. Let's get stuck in. This beer was released on the 1st of July 2020 through the local Osmoskalig assortment in Systembolaget here in Sweden. Slange, skål. Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty nice actually. Straight away, I will say this one, it is a bit more tart in the flavour than the aroma gives you the impression it would be. But yeah, it gets a big thumbs up from me again, this one. Another impressive Gose from DuckPond Brewing. This is nice. Yeah, this is good. As I said, you've got so many really nice sour beer breweries here in Sweden, or well, not every brewery is dedicated to the sour beers, of course. Some of them are doing like regular fermentation beers and sour fermentation beers. You've got Fermentorarna, Morgendalen, Wizard. You've got these guys, DuckPond, do some Temple, Bryggeriet, Jämmerdalen. You know, there's some really good sour beers these days, and you know, DuckPond are firmly within that category now with these beers. They're doing some really good stuff as far as I can see. So I'll be keeping an eye on what these guys are releasing every month. But yeah, I do like this one, and I mean, with this one, it is kind of straight up in what it's giving you. I like that about it. So yeah, straight away with this beer, you'll feel you can feel that nice kind of white bready wheaty quality that just blankets the middle of the tongue there. So you can feel that white bready wheaty note. It gets a little bit more wheaty the further back. If you go into the back third of your tongue, you can feel a little touch of the wheaty bitiness there. But then I think the oaty creaminess out of this beer really just blankets on top of that and makes the beer feel very smooth. The oats, as I said, this beer doesn't have lactose or anything like that in it, but the oats really give you the impression. The oats almost they really give you the creaminess, but at the same time, the flavour you get out of that almost evolves a little bit to feel a little bit sort of yogurty, like petit filou kind of thing. So towards the front of the middle third of your palate, it's definitely it definitely has a little bit of that kind of yogurty type quality to it, which is very interesting. I think that's, in the last video I did, I think that's what I was suspecting might have been a bit of lactose or whatever. But yeah, no, it's definitely the level of oaty creaminess that this beer has does give you the impression of a sort of yogurty type flavour, and I really like that about it. I like the oaty backbone that this beer has. Yeah, it's a really nice kind of just smoothness and creaminess that this beer has for its backbone actually. But yes, to say, you do get a little bit of the more wheaty bready side of things towards the back of the palate there, and the back third of your tongue, but very quickly you can feel the oaty creaminess sort of sitting on top of that actually as well. But yeah, in the middle third of your palate, it's a lovely, it's just a big thick oaty creaminess, and it does get sweeter and sweeter, I think, the further you go into the aftertaste with the beer. In the back corners of the palate, I think there is a wee hint of an earthiness to this one. It's almost like a noble earthiness. Usually, if they put hops in these beers, it would be like an older Hallertau or Tettnanger or something like that. As I say, they haven't. It doesn't have it listed here. They've put hops in this one, but I do think there is a wee bit of an almost noble-like earthiness on the back corners of the palate there. And then around the front curve of the palate, you get a little touch of grassiness off it. But yeah, it's interesting how I still get it. It feels like I still get these flavours out of it, even though there's not the hops in this one. So that's a really interesting point to make about the beer for me. But yeah, the front third of your palate, this is where the kind of fruity side of the beer is coming out. So let's look at that then. The fruits in this one I think are pretty interesting. So yeah, when you take this beer in, front of your palate is just kind of, it's the raspberries come in straight away, and you get the tartness out of it. You get the kind of tannin type flavours and the big kind of sour citricy thing coming out of it. So you get that straight away with this beer, and I really like how that part of it goes together. So it comes in, it's got a little bit of that kind of citricy sharpness to it, which is great. But then you have, as I say, it really juicens up. The further you go into the aftertaste, it really starts to juicen up. So it comes in very sharp and raspberry-like, but then on the front of your palate, you start to get a kind of a little bit of an almost figgy quality to it, like a kind of candied, like a bit of a kind of candied strawberry. I mean, it really does have an almost juicy strawberry quality to it the further you go into the aftertaste. But the tartness of the raspberries, it kind of lingers around the very kind of front edge of your tongue. But yeah, as I say, it is straight up raspberries that are in this beer. I said this with the aroma as well, it's straight up raspberries, but you do get the impression of a few other fruits, maybe a little bit of figs, a little bit of a kind of strawberry thing, and maybe a wee bit of a red curranty cranberry-ish type flavour out of this one as well. So on that front third of your palate you can feel these things sort of just gradually evolving. These flavours gradually evolve out of the beer. So it's really interesting that how a beer that is relatively simple in terms of its composition, you know, the little bit of wheat, little bit of oat, little bit of salt, and some raspberries. It's kind of interesting how it can evolve these different flavours, such as a little bit of grassiness, a little bit of earthiness, and then a few different fruity qualities as well. But yeah, you do notice around the kind of front edge of your tongue there, the more and more you drink of this one, you start to get a bit of the saltiness out of the beer. I mean, you've seen how long it was since I took a sip now, and for me, the salty side of the beer is really coming out. It is really coming out now around the kind of front edges of the palate there. So yeah, the saltiness really comes out as the aftertaste starts to build up in this one. But the things that really linger into the aftertaste there, a little bit of the wheatiness, the big sort of oaty creaminess you get out of the beer, the juiciness of the different fruity notes. But it starts to, the further you go into the aftertaste, it really starts to push and lean again more towards the kind of more tart side of the raspberries. But the saltiness lingers on this one into the aftertaste as well. So for me, this is one of these beers that I think it tastes, you know, absolutely lovely, but it's one of the ones that I would say it's not the most complex of things, but it's all about how these kind of key component flavours just mixed, you know, just sort of fit together and pull off something that tastes really nice. And that's exactly what this beer does. It's not the most complex of beers that you're going to come across, but the flavours just work together really well. As I said, a little bit of a wheaty backbone to the beer, some nice, a hell of a lot of oaty creaminess to it actually. You get the nice kind of tart raspberry flavours. I think they get more tart the further you go into the aftertaste. Then you've got a wee bit of a saltiness that lingers there as well. So those are your four key elements to the beer. There are other little complexities to it as I've described, but those four key elements really sit there, and they make this beer just absolutely solid. So, you know, well done to DuckPond Brewing for this one. They've pulled off another very, very nice fruited Gose here, in my opinion. I need to decide what to do from these guys for my next review. I need to see if they've got a Berliner Weisse or something, because the 3 reviews so far, as I say, the Lead Singer Syndrome, that was yeah, I'm pretty sure that was I did have an IPA from these guys. I don't know if that was the Lead Singer Syndrome or was that Microphone Brigariat. I've got a feeling that beer was released under the Microphone name, but the first beer I ever had from DuckPond was a New England IPA. Then we had the Darkwing, and now we've had this one. So I need to review something a bit different, I guess, for the for next month's review or whatever. But yeah, another very, very solid beer from these guys. In terms of the mouthfeel then, I would say that this beer is kind of top end of mid-bodied, bottom end of full-bodied. Yeah, very kind of thick, creamy type beer, this one, which isn't surprising if you know this brewery. So yeah, quite a top end mid-bodied, bottom end a full-bodied beer. Carbonation is very smooth, a very thick mouthfeel, as I said. In terms of, you know, hoppy bitterness and things like that out of this beer, I think, you know, you're getting pretty much 0 IBU out of this, maybe 1 or 2 at the absolute most. No bitterness to this beer. It gives you the impression of a little bit of hop, like I said, a little bit of an almost noble earthiness at the back of the palate, up just a little bit of a lighter kind of grassiness at the front. But as I said, no hops in this beer. You know, malt base, good bit of smoothness underneath, but a big kind of creamy quality from the oats. Almost gets a little bit sweet actually the further you go into the aftertaste. There's a little bit of saltiness to this beer, which you expect from the Gose. And then you've got a lovely kind of juicy fruitiness, but quite a bit of tartness to this beer in the beginning, but that does build once again the further you go into the aftertaste. But yeah, another very, very interesting beer from DuckPond Brewing. I think we can leave the tasting section of this video at that. This has proved to be another really pretty damn good beer, and I will be keeping an eye on what these guys are releasing. So I'm hoping I can get a billion of ISA from them for the next one, and then we'll maybe see about an IPA or something like that beyond that too. But yeah, another very, very nice beer from DuckPond Brewing. So if you're interested in Gothenburg craft beer, these guys are one that you definitely want to check out. So yeah, 6% Gose this one with raspberries, and with raspberries and vanilla added to it, it works out really, really nice. I've actually not really mentioned the vanilla flavour in this one, because it does almost come across, it's the yogurty flavour that you get out of this one, that kind of yogurty backbone, if you like. So yeah, I would say the vanilla flavour, you get a little bit of it towards the kind of front of the palate, but I don't think the vanilla is quite as noticeable in this one as it was in the last bit, fair enough. I mean, it tells you that you know, the fact that I forgot to mention it means I don't find the vanilla overly prominent in this one. It is kind of a subtlety. To me, it struck me more as an oaty kind of creaminess. It's this level of oats in this one, I think, that sticks out more than anything. But you know, to take it away, the take-away message from the True Love beer is that it's pretty damn nice. So have a go at it for yourself and just see what you think. But yeah, I enjoyed reviewing this one. I hope that you guys have enjoyed my take on this beer. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from DuckPond Brewing as well. Thank you again for watching my reviews, and I will catch you guys very, very soon. This one is the True Love 6% Gose with raspberry and vanilla added to the brew from DuckPond Brewing, based in Gothenburg on the west coast of Sweden. Check out these guys if you like your nice sour beers. We will see what comes up from these guys in the next Lokalos Moskavid. Slanja, skål, cheers, make sure you check out DuckPond Brewing, and I'll catch you guys very, very soon. Skål.